So played 4 years of ball at Maine, and then, like you said, you got drafted by the White Sox. Where when you were at Maine did you realize, like, holy shit, I might have a chance to actually go to the pro level?
Yeah, I would say at the end of my freshman year when I hit that 95 for the first time. That was in the conference tournament, and then, you know, I ended up throwing 3 innings against Stony Brook, and they ended up hitting a walk-off home run against me.
Oh God!
But I didn't care because I hit 95 that day, and
You're
it was like
that's it.
it was,
I showed him something.
But after that game, I received a few calls, and I was like, oh,
Damn.
I was like, wow, this can be a reality, and I knew it was gonna be a long journey, and it was.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was the first time I really thought that I could make a career out of it.
Mr. Mac. Aha, you, Mr. Mac. Mr. Mac, Mr. Mac.
All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Stay Tranquilo podcast. We're here with Sir Silky, Nick Silva.
Sir.
Appreciate you for coming on, bro.
Thanks for having me.
Long overdue.
Yes.
I know we had been reaching out to each other to do this, and I know you're a traveling man, so I'm glad we got to get you while you're here in Miami.
3 years in the making.
Yes, sir.
Finally made it happen.
Yeah, so I want to give the floor to you before we get into anything. Give them a little rundown about yourself. You played baseball at Maine. Definitely want to talk a little bit about that. You currently work for AROD Corp, so give them a little spiel about yourself, and we'll get into it.
Nick Silva, Columbus alumni, went to school with my boy right here, Andre. Graduated in 2015. From there, went to the University of Maine, spent 4 years, played Division I baseball. Lucky enough to get drafted by the White Sox, played for the White Sox for 2 years. And now, when you can't play sports, the next best thing is to work in sports.
Yep.
So I'm lucky enough to, work in baseball and basketball, my 2 favorite sports, my 2 passions. Working on basketball on the business, basketball operations side, which has been a lot of learning. And I've been, super excited about that. And on baseball on the media side. So media side, we're just, like we were talking about earlier off camera, just going to Fox for the playoff baseball and covering the games, and excited for what's to come.
Yeah, no, it's full circle moment where you got to play. Obviously, how long were you playing baseball from? Like T-ball, right?
Yeah, like 3 years old.
Yeah.
Actually, before that, when I was born, because it's in my family.
Yeah, exactly. So you've been playing baseball since you were 3, and now you're working at one of the coolest stages of the sport outside of playing, obviously.
Yeah.
So let's rewind, right? So we played baseball a little bit together at Columbus. Columbus, obviously, for people that don't know, is a very well-respected program down here in South Florida. Wow. Coach Weber obviously has done an amazing job with that program. McKeon, obviously, a great job with the athletics overall, and seeing how that world has blossomed even from when we were there. I mean, now it's like a completely different situation, full turf field, 2-story clubhouse.
I don't even recognize the facilities. I was on campus today, and I'm like, wasn't the tennis court like right here?
Yeah, dude.
It's now a huge building.
It's a college campus, basically.
Literally.
My brother's there now. I'm like, bro, you got to take advantage of this because this is like state-of-the-art shit. But you played baseball, pitched all 4 years at Columbus, and your evolution as a player got you to play D1 baseball. Can you talk about that process of when you were going through the recruiting and what that kind of world looked like at that time?
Yeah, so I mean, you remember those days. I was the little smaller, chubbier kid. I was a late bloomer. I was, you know, no facial hair. I didn't grow my first like beard until like my my freshman year of college. But so the process was a little slow for me. You know, we'd go to all these Georgia tournaments, and you know, I would always throw well, but I was always maybe like in the middle of the pack in terms of velocity and stuff. And that's what really mattered. So kind of was late to the recruiting process, and then around my senior year in high school, in the fall, Danny Casals was my best friend and ends up being my roommate in college. He got a big offer to the University of Maine, and one day they were down there recruiting. You know,
same year.
Yeah, same year. You know, we're same year. One day they were down there recruiting to go check up on him, and he told them, like, "Hey, look at Nick Silva. You know, I think you might like him. You know, he's got a lot of potential." And then, lucky enough, you know, I threw well that day. They offered me a walk-on, and you know, the rest was history. I walked on my freshman year, and then earned a scholarship for the next 3 years, and it was the best 4 years of my life.
That's awesome. Yeah. And when you got into Maine, would you say that you really weren't even at your peak, you know, getting into your freshman year? You probably were, throwing mid 80s probably going into your freshman year?
So going into my freshman year, and that's when I got my, that's when I hit my growth spurt.
Right, you stretched out.
And I matured, like physically. I came in throwing by like 87, 88. By that fall, I was like 91.
That's crazy.
And then by the end of the spring, I hit 95 for the first time. So I was like, dang, this is whatever throwing program they got here is nice.
Goddamn.
So, you know, that was the first time I saw that jump. And then, so I think after my freshman year is when I finally reached into my full potential. And then from there, it was just building on that. Like, it was all this newfound speed and this newfound, you know, talent that I didn't know I had yet.
Yeah.
So it's like now fine tuning it, throwing strikes, you know, throwing a breaking ball from that. So, yeah, it was.
What was the combo? What were you throwing? Were you a fastball slider, two-seam slider?
It all depended what was going on.
What was working that day?
I was a big split change guy.
Okay.
I was a big split change guy. I remember Rene Guerra?
Of course, yeah.
He's the one who taught me that. If you're watching that, shout out to you, Pun. But he taught me one day at Columbus the split change, and I always threw it in practice. And then, like, as I got older and I started throwing harder, it became a weapon for me. So that was my go-to pitch, and then I would just throw a little slider off of that as well.
Nice. So played 4 years of ball at Maine, and then, like you said, you got drafted by the White Sox. Where when you were at Maine did you realize, like, holy shit, I might have a chance to actually go to the pro level?
Yeah, I would say at the end of my freshman year when I hit that 95 for the first time. That was in the conference tournament, and then, you know, I ended up throwing 3 innings against Stony Brook, and they ended up hitting a walk-off home run against me.
Oh, God.
But I didn't care because I hit 95 that day. And
it was like, that's it. I showed them something.
But after that game, I received a few calls, and I was like, oh,
damn.
I was like, wow, this can be a reality. And, you know, I knew it was going to be a long journey, and it was. But, yeah, that was the first time I really thought that I could make a career out of this.
That's sick. And then once you get to the White Sox, what did that world look like? I mean, that's a whole new world, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the training that goes into, you know, a pro ball team, kind of I guess all the media and everything that also comes around with it. Like, they're making an investment into you, right? So once you got into that level, what did that world look like?
It was a reality check, to be honest.
Yeah.
It was, you know, a rude awakening. I mean, I ended up throwing well, thankfully, but, you know, I went in there thinking, you know, I'm going to be the same Nick that was not conference player of the year, but like one of the top pitchers in the conference, you know, the hardest thrower on my team. Like, that's what my mindset is going in there. And I get there and I'm the slowest thrower. Like, everybody there is 96 plus. And I'm like, whoa, okay, I'm at the bottom of the totem pole.
Yeah.
I was a 40th round draft pick. I really got to grind. I got to do things to step up. Like, I'm no longer like, you know, the ace. I'm a middle reliever.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was definitely a wake-up call. I got accustomed to that early. I learned it early. And thankfully, like, I had an uncle and a brother who played pro ball before me, so they prepped me through that, and I've lived through that my whole life. So I had a good understanding of what I was going into. But it was definitely like, you don't expect it until you see it. And when I saw it, I was like, okay, wow, all right, gotta really stand out.
Yeah. And what were you doing? Were you long tossing more? Was it get in the weight room more, right? Because there's like a physical cap to people as well, right? I mean, not everyone could touch 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
That's just the reality of the fact. I mean, the fact you're throwing 95, you're already in like upper echelon in terms of the percentage of people that can do that. But you're throwing 95, seeing all these guys throwing 96 plus.
Yeah.
What in your head was like, all right, what do I do?
Yeah, so for me, once I was there, like 95 is almost like 88 BP fastball these days. So, so I had to like, change my mindset. In college, maybe I could throw a pitch 93 down the middle as hard as I could, and I could get it by him.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen in pro ball. So I had to, fine tune my game, be a little more scrappier, be a little bit more, smarter, outsmart. So like really focus on sequencing, what location of pitches, things like that, and fine tuning like the mental aspect.
Yeah.
To because I wasn't going to overpower anybody.
And what you said, both your cousin also played in the pros and your uncle played in the pros. What was something that they taught you when getting to that point? Like, what was it? Was it more like the mental side of things? Was it more the physical side of things? Was it relationships? Like, what were they kind of like telling you? Hey, if you really want to make it to the pro level, you're already kind of in a program in the White Sox, but if you really want to get to that point, what was some of the advice that they were giving you?
Yeah, my uncle was a first-round draft pick. My brother was a second-round draft pick. So for me, I was a 40th. So their simple message was get in the best shape of your life. Leave everything out on the field. Don't regret anything you do. So just play, have fun, so that one day when that time comes where you have to hang them up, you don't live life with regret. So that's how I took it into every day. I tried to be the first one there every day. I stayed as long as I could until they turned the lights off in the locker room and in the stadium.
Yeah.
So I tried to make the most out of it, and I found that I was having the most fun in playing baseball my whole life. So that was their key message, and I really appreciated it.
Yeah, I think that's a good kind of like segue into the next question that I want to ask you, right? Because you've played baseball your whole life, and it's not just a baseball thing, but it's anyone that's played sports thing.
Yeah.
The common denominator is like, when do you choose to leave the game, right? Even if you played 20 years in a pro league, or you're playing high school ball and you're trying to make it to play college, right? I mean, we've seen it with a bunch of guys that we grew up playing with, right?
Yep.
They play high school ball, they don't really get an offer, right? And then they're like, you know what, I'm going to go play JUCO, or I'm going to try to get a showcase, or I'm going to just not play in a league and try to get stronger and better. And you see guys do that for 5 years, right? And they're not really reaping not that they're not reaping the benefits, they might be getting better and all that, but they're still not maybe getting the college offer, or they're still stuck in the minors for 10, 15 years, right? Like you see that all over the place. For you, and I guess for anyone that might be in that same situation, when does it make sense to be like, okay, hey, this isn't it anymore?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the most important thing is to surround yourself with people who are not going to bullshit you.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can say that.
Yeah.
Let it eat.
Free. Yeah.
Don't people, who are going to speak to you truthfully, and just cut it straight.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you have to be a little bit of a realist as well. So you can't be living in the clouds, right? Yeah. So when that time came and I finally, it was that time that I got released, and that was a phone call that I'll never forget. I had to make that decision. Like, I had a few indie ball offers, or get to work and finish my degree. Like, I was stuck right there. So that realization, like, Nick, you're a 40th round draft pick. You're doing well,
right?
But it's gonna be a long process to get to where you eventually want to go, or you can jumpstart your career. That was something I was juggling at the time.
Yeah.
And, thankfully, I made the right decision, and I'm super happy, and I have no regrets.
Yeah, I mean, it is very easy to drag out those type of decisions, right?
And we know many people like that.
So many people, man. And you can't bash anyone for trying to live out their dreams, right? Because it is the dream, right? So you played sports your whole life. That's the ultimate goal, right? Go play pro ball, go play in the NFL, go play in the NBA, whatever that is. Like that's why you do it, right? If not, like what are you there for? Obviously, you have fun and the relationships that you come along the way. But for me, I stopped playing after high school. Like that was my cap. But I was like you. I was a late bloomer, bro. You remember me.
Yeah,
I was
for sure
tiny, bro. Tiny. I graduated high school weighing 140 pounds. I was tiny. It wasn't until college like sophomore year of college where I actually got to like 170, started actually working out, and my body started filling in. And I remember like I was still throwing the ball, and I was throwing like 88, 90, and I'm like, bro, I never got even close to that in high school. So how was I ever gonna have a chance, right? And in my head, I'm like, do I go and make a run at this because I loved it, right? But I had to have a real conversation. It's like, I know how hard it is, bro. Like you could be the hardest worker in the room and still that might not be enough, because that's just the reality of the fact, is that guy's just that much more talented and a hard worker, you know? So you do have to have those honest dialogues with yourself and with the people around you, because they're going to be the ones to kind of like level set you, because you think you could do everything and anything.
Yeah.
Well, so you get that call, you get released, and then you have that honest conversation with yourself that, you know what, this is not it for me. So what was next?
This was the biggest, I think, phone call moment of my life, was this next portion, like where I made the biggest decision. And that was, you know, so now I'm contemplating not playing baseball anymore, or, you know, working in business, or figuring out what I want to do. I have no idea. You know, you're still a little depressed about what's going on. And I remember one day my uncle calls me, and this was around July 2020. So COVID is still, you know, lingering, but it's not the biggest thing anymore. And he's just like, hey, come hang out. And in that process, in that time frame, he was in the process of trying to acquire the Mets. And, you know, that was a big thing in his life, and it was what he was working on a lot.
Right.
So we ended up, you know, obviously not buying the Mets. We came in second place on that bid. But it was during that time I go, Theo, like, would you mind if I just sit in on one of these calls and, you know, just learn? I would love to learn. He said, absolutely. I got 2 rules. Take notes and never be late. So I had to show up every call with my paper and pen ready. And then I was there 15 minutes early before that Zoom call or the meeting. And from that point on, I never missed a meeting. I was always invited back, and I learned so much of that process. It was 6 months of doing due diligence, research on the Mets, all this stuff. We visited the site, and it was the biggest learning experience in my life. And then I was there I earned an internship with him, and I was an intern for a while, and then it led to this opportunity.
And that's with AROD Corp, right?
Correct.
Okay. So when you first started, you were in the process of the due diligence with the Mets. Like that was like kind of your first learning curve in this world.
Yeah. My first call was a pitch call to potential investors on you know, investing into the Mets with them. And, you know, little by little, I started getting little assignments like, tell me what the contract of this player is. What's this player? And like, you know, doing like little things like that, or even as simple as like, he's been on a call for 2 hours, like, you know, kind of like the busboy work.
Right.
You know, can you refill my water like real quick? And I'll
Got
boom.
doing all
Like,
the
you
little
know,
things.
like, you know, just being like
what interns do.
whatever needed,
Yeah.
like the Swiss Army knife. So, you know, that was a fun time, and it was a great process.
Nice. And then you do your internship with AROD Corp, right?
Correct.
And now you're still with AROD Corp, right? And what's your title now there?
Sports and Media Associate.
Okay. So before I get into your role, can you tell the people like what AROD Corp does? Just kind of high level, I guess.
Yeah, I would say AROD Corp is our company that does 3 things: sports, media, and real estate. Keep it that very simple. It does the 3 things, and in those buckets, you know, in the real estate, there's, you know, apartments, single family homes. On the media side, we have a production company. We do work on documentaries. We're working with Fox and ESPN. On the sports side, we own the Timberwolves and Lynx, and hopefully, you know, eventually grow that business as well. But very simply, sports, media, and real estate.
Got you. Yeah. So that's the kind of one of the other things I wanted to get into, the whole Timberwolves thing, right? So AROD obviously tries to buy the Mets. We all know that doesn't end up panning out.
Yep.
So I guess the next thing was AROD wanted to get into sports ownership, right? Like that was the ultimate goal at that point. How many years between the Mets and the Timberwolves was that?
2 months.
Oh, it's 2 months.
2 months. So
It was that quick.
Yeah.
I remember it being quick, but I didn't remember being it that quick.
Yeah, so the Mets happened and we lost. We were the second winners, as my uncle likes to say. Steve Cohen beat us out, who's one of the top
Right.
20 richest people in the world. So
Yeah.
very easy for him to write that check. And a couple months later, we were kind of a little down because we did so much work.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple months later, this opportunity comes knocking on our door, and we're like, okay, yeah, let's take a look at it. And during our research and our due diligence, we noticed a few things that, the NBA is a great business. It's a sport that's going up.
Right.
Where baseball's kind of like, staying here, maybe going down a bit.
Right.
But this is a business that's taken off. Minnesota, we love the city, love the state.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of great memories there with the Yankees and stuff. Unfortunately, beating the Twins a bit. But and then we just looked at the landscape of the team. Anthony Edwards and a few other players that are there. Karl Anthony Towns, and then we saw the purchase price, and it was about $1 billion cheaper. And we're like, wait, we like this business way better, and it's
Right.
$1 billion,
and it's cheaper.
$1 billion
Yeah.
cheaper. It's like, okay. And then Alex and Mark Laurie, his partner, they put in an offer, and the rest was history.
Yeah, and at the time, I mean, I think, like you said, the Timberwolves were on the come up, and obviously, you look at the last couple of years, and it's been a very successful run with the Timberwolves. But there was some recent news that Towns is getting traded to the Knicks.
Yeah.
How was that whole situation?
I mean, we love Carl.
Carl's he's awesome.
He's been with us for 9 years, but it's
Business
a move
is
that
business.
management decided to make, which we fully support.
Right.
We have the greatest team president in the world. We think Pat Riley and Tim Connelly are the two best in the league. So anything he does, we completely trust. But Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo, and the first round pick are very appealing.
Extremely.
And we feel like we're going to be the deepest team in the league, and we feel like we can repeat our Western Conference appearance or even go even further. So we're really happy with the team.
How was that run last year? Because I know you were obviously there. I think you were there pretty much for every home game at that point, and away games, I'm sure too. How was that run? Because it was fun to watch.
It was probably one of the best 3-4 week spans of my life. Like going to these games, crazy. I mean, my anxiety was through the roof.
I can't even imagine.
Blood pressure through the roof, bro.
I can't even imagine.
That game 7 versus Denver might have been.
That game was.
I lost my voice.
That game was in Minnesota.
That game was in Denver.
That was in
We're
Denver.
down 20 at halftime.
Oh my God, that's
And
right.
we make this comeback against the defending champs and the reigning MVP, Nikola Jokic. And, it was a fun game. And my sister was there, my brother-in-law, obviously my uncles. We had a great crew there at that game. And we definitely enjoyed it after.
What's a celebration when you make it to the finals look like? That's got to be.
If we make it to the finals?
Or I mean, that was what to go to the Western Conference Finals.
That was to go to the Western Conference Finals.
Okay, so going to the Western Conference Finals,
we felt like we were on top of the world.
Exactly,
We
you just
took
beat
down
the reigning champs. Yeah.
So we were feeling great. That was an amazing moment. But then we go play Dallas in the Western Conference Finals, and probably a little bit beat up a little bit. We going in a 7-game series against the defending champs that took a lot of us out, a lot out of us. So it was a tough, hard-fought series, but the better team won, and hats off to Dallas.
Yeah. And before that, were you into basketball that at all?
Yeah, I've always been a diehard.
Okay.
But I was kind of like, I didn't really have an alliance. Growing up in Miami, I'm a Heat fan.
Of course.
But I only really loved the LeBron era.
Yeah.
Because I'm a LeBron guy.
Okay.
So I kind of didn't really have a team. I messed with the Celtics a little bit. I was like a free agent. So when this opportunity came, I was like, perfect. Minnesota, done for the rest of my life.
That's sick. And now, so you got playoff baseball coming up.
Yep.
And then you have now the season start. So it's kind of like a big transition, right? Because you're really ramping it up because it's playoff ball. Like everybody's attention's on that. But you have the basketball season looming. So how does your uncle, how does AROD Corp, how does yourself kind of work through all this at the same time? Because baseball in itself is a monster, and you guys are doing all the stuff with Fox. You're going to be at the games. You're going to be at the studio. but you're also thinking about NBA season. How does that whole situation look?
Yeah, during basketball season, it's kind of just like, you did all your work in the off season,
Yeah.
so now it's kind of just enjoy the fruits of your labor. And so, like you mentioned, October we're in baseball, so it's pretty easy for us. We're fully focused on baseball,
Okay.
but we're watching. We don't miss a dribble.
Yeah.
We got the iPad going. We got
Gotcha.
the NBA League Pass ready to go.
Nice.
So we're watching everything, and then as soon as baseball is over, then now we start integrating into games, and we have a house there now. So,
In Minnesota?
Yeah, my uncle
Okay.
has a house, so we all stay there. And so
Nice.
when there's like a long homestand, like 5 or 6 games, we'll just camp out there and have like AROD Corp headquarters 2.0.
Cool.
And just go to all the games and work from the house, and it's nice and easy and
Sweet.
chilling.
So what's your like day-to-day look like?
It depends the time of the year. If it's basketball season, I'm doing a lot of reports on the players, the games, recapping the games with the crew, with our sports crew, and talking about it, and seeing which ways we can get better.
Okay.
On the
So you're looking at the internal kind of statistics and analytics
Yeah.
of the players
A little bit, yeah.
on the Wolf side.
Yeah, and then
Okay.
on the business side, if we're working on any special projects, I'll help oversee, see that, and translate what the findings over to Alex and Mark.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I mean, it's got to. Did you ever see yourself like
No.
doing something like this?
No, not at all.
Right.
Not at all. But it's a dream, right?
Yeah. No, it's
Yeah.
amazing. And you've been able to travel kind of all over the place, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's perfect. I get to go around the world, go everywhere, watching sports games and going in and out of stadiums.
Yeah.
And close to being at every stadium in baseball, and hopefully do that in basketball. And I've been enjoying it.
What's been your, I guess, favorite? Probably. I mean, I think I might know the answer, but your favorite memory so far on the business side of sports?
Oof. On the business side of sports. I mean, yeah, well, we were just talking
Probably,
about
yeah.
that game
I
7.
figured that would
That
be
game
it.
7, yeah. That was a great moment.
It's hard to beat that,
You can't beat it. You can't beat it. But there's been so many,
especially on the road.
yeah. There's been so many lessons though learned in between that, so that felt so good. The first year we lost to Memphis in the playoffs, and that was a series we should have won, but the better team won. Year 2 we lost in the first round again. So finally year 3 when we're in the Western Conference finally eventually make it to the Western Conference Finals. It felt so good after 2 years of losing in the first round. It felt nice to finally see that the hard work had paid off, and the boys were playing well, and it was awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome to
that's
see.
sick, man.
Yeah.
I live vicariously through your stories, so I'm always saying, I'm like, damn, bro, this guy's having fun.
Try.
So we talk a ton of golf stuff
Yeah.
on the additional pods that we have.
I love it.
And I know you're a big golf guy.
Yeah.
You just came from, you were telling me, Pebble Beach.
Pebble Beach.
How was that?
Pebble Beach is insane.
Yeah.
I loved it. We played from the tips too.
Oh, I was about to say, did you play from the tips?
From the tips. And the senior tour just finished playing.
Oh
on
my
Sunday.
God! So it was in prime condition.
It was tour conditions. It was like the hardest thing I've ever played, and we got like the classic Pebble Beach fog. So
Oh, like that.
there was some holes that they're like, just hit it that way. I promise you the green is there. And I'm like, yo, you sure? And he's like, yeah, just hit it there. And I'm like, all right. You can't see anything. Like
That's
you can barely
crazy.
see your hand in front.
And windy as shit, I'm assuming.
We thankfully not that much.
Oh, it wasn't that
wind.
bad?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So we played 7, which is the legendary
Yeah.
short par 3.
Isn't that the one Wade hit the hole in one?
Hole in one, yeah. But that hole is either could be a pitching wedge one day or a 3-iron the next day.
Yeah.
Luckily, it was like a 54 degree for me.
Oh,
I
okay.
parred it, bro. That's all I wanted. I just wanted to par that hole.
Hole 7 has, it's cliff side, right? It's got all the water on the right
Yeah,
side.
all cliff.
Yeah. And you're hitting straight into
Straight into it.
Usually
Depends
what's
where
where
it
the
goes. 'Cause
wind.
it's on like a little peninsula, so
Got
like
you.
it could go whatever
Yeah,
direction.
you have no idea where the wind's
idea.
blowing. That's crazy. Is it down? Is it downhill,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
It's 100. It was playing 110 yards.
Damn. All right.
Yeah.
And have you ever had a hole in one?
No,
No?
I wish.
Yeah.
The day I get a hole in one, everybody's gonna know. Everybody's gonna know. I'm gonna post it on every website.
I can see
Nobody's
that.
gonna pick it up.
Zaire Golf is gonna pick that shit up just because of your reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've never had hole in one. I mean, Pebble Beach obviously is bucket list. I mean, that whole west coast of the U.S. has
Yeah.
got some badass courses. The one I've been dying to play is Bandon Dunes, which is like I think it's Oregon.
Yeah.
You've never seen the
No,
picture of
no,
Bandon, bro? You gotta see, like that is unreal.
Badass.
Yeah, it's in the middle of nowhere,
Wow.
but it's same thing, like very cliffside. I think there's water as well down the cliffs, but it's like that kind of like eerie, like all the trees are kind of dead, you know, but bunkers everywhere, super hilly. But it's one of those courses that, I mean, it's like probably $700 to play there or something like that.
But it's worth it.
But
you have
yeah,
the time of
it's
your life. You go with a great crew.
bucket list. You stay on site at
my God.
the course.
Doesn't get any better than that.
And yeah, you have a field day out there. There's that one. There's Stream Song, which is here in Florida, which is like Central Florida. They just got, they have like, I think 5 courses on site. And I think 2 or 3 of them just got rated like in the top 20 courses in the US right now.
Really?
Yeah, it's a link style course.
Miami's the only place with terrible court for golf.
Miami golf sucks, dude.
The worst.
And it's the most expensive thing in the world.
I went to Miccosukee the other day and they charged me $125, bro. I thought I was at.
It's ridiculous,
bro. I was at Trump or something.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, and then you want to go play Trump, you want to go play the Blue Monster, you're gonna pay $400. Stupid. I go now where I go, I just go up like an hour north, like Plantation,
It's worth it.
Boca area, all that. Bro, you're playing courses that are all better than anything here. I mean, not to take anything like, you know, Biltmore's nice, Trump is nice, but like Trump, you're in the middle of freaking Doral, bro. Like like you're not like in this beautiful, even though the course is very beautiful and you got the palm trees and all this stuff, it's not like playing a Pebble Beach or anything
we
like
gotta
that.
hit Briar Bay now, bro. It's the only place you could play for like.
Briar Bay is where I was born as a golfer, I guess you could say.
Yeah, same. That was my first time ever playing.
That's where I pulled out everything, like whatever clubs I had in my garage that were probably 30 years old at that point.
On 2 holes.
Exactly. And I'm like, this is where I'm gonna learn. So Briar Bay will always be a special place.
Special place in my heart, bro.
Yeah, because that's where golf was made. But dude, I'm addicted as hell to it. I mean, I try to get out at least now. I try to get out at least once a week, even if it's 9 holes. Because if you want to be good at golf, you gotta stay consistent with it. If not, it's pretty much impossible.
We gotta get out there one day, bro.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be great.
Whenever. So, is Pebble Beach favorite course you've ever played?
Yes, by far.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Outside of Pebble, what other courses have you played?
I played one Gaza Ranch in Idaho.
Okay.
That place was insane. Like I'm a big nature like forest guy, and that one's like you feel like you're in the middle of a forest.
That's
and
cool.
Like you have to like put them in between trees like this, pine trees like they're skinny. So
yeah,
terrible for me. But it's the most beautiful course ever.
You could shoot a million on that course.
There's a beautiful lake there.
Nice.
I played Shinnecock Hills, which is a top 5 course.
Where's that?
New York, in the Hamptons.
Oh, that course, yes.
Yeah, it's like a top 5, 10 course in the country. You know, I played there. I shot probably by 190. It was terrible. We walked it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And it was Shinnecock Hills, so it's like
it's hilly as shit. Yeah. Exhausted after.
Yeah. And I love me a little Palmetto Bay, bro.
Hell yeah.
Palmetto Bay can never go wrong.
Bro, there was a point though, that course was rough though.
Yeah.
They've renovated. I haven't played since the renovations. I
haven't played either.
I heard it's decent now. But obviously you guys play a lot in the DR too, right? Like Teeth of the Dog and Casa Campo. Mm-hmm. What's your thoughts on that course?
Tough
as hell, right?
Very windy. But it's a beautiful course. Anytime I'm in Dominican Republic, my home country, I'm so happy. You get a couple traguitos there, you're chilling. You don't even worry about golf.
It's a different vibe out there, bro.
It's the best, bro.
My God.
A little Presidente, a little Brugal, a little rum and coke, bro. You don't even worry about golf if you shot a bogey or not.
We were there earlier this year, not in Casa Campo, in Punta Cana for the Punta Cana Classic.
Oh, yeah.
The PGA tournament that's out there. And they have is the last 3-hole stretch. It's right along the cliffside. Oh, yeah. The wind is just blowing straight in your face on the last 3 holes. It's called the Devil's Elbow, bro. And these are PGA Tour guys. I mean, they're driving the ball 300 yards, but you're hitting straight into the wind, and it's just a straight, it's a dogleg right, but you have to go straight over the cliffside, which is all water. And you see guys that they're laying up and they're leaving themselves 200 because that wind is just straight howling, and it's coming in so hot that the salt water's cliffside is just.
Oh, you're getting hit with the mist.
You're getting hit with the mist right off the tee box. Yeah, but badass fucking course, bro. Badass course. But I am a big like you're like nature golf. I love like that Caribbean golf
Yeah.
for exactly that reason. You get a little beer in you. It's a different vibe. It's hot as shit,
It
but
is.
you gotta stay hydrated out there. But it's a good vibe.
Too much water gets me nervous. I always end up hitting it into it.
Every time, 'cause it's
Every
in your
time,
head.
every
It's in
time.
your head. So you're like, all right, I'm not gonna shank it left, so I don't hit in the water. So it's either a nasty slice right or just a straight pull into the
Or you're
water.
like, it's super breezy. I'm gonna play this one a little bit to the right, and then of course the wind doesn't happen to go on that time you hit it, and it just goes into like the beach.
Golf is fucking brutal. And is your uncle good? I know
Yeah.
I know he's played a couple
Yeah.
pro-ams, right?
Yeah, he's not bad.
He played what's the one out there? Tahoe. How was that?
It's great. Finished second to last. It was
Second to last?
Yeah.
Did you play in it too?
I played the practice round.
Okay.
I played the practice round.
Nice.
Yeah.
And who was he paired up with when he played at that pro-am?
First day we were paired up with Gary Sheffield and Pujols.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Second day we had Miles Teller, Blake Griffin.
Oh, shit.
I forgot who the other one was. And then the third day was like Miles Teller again, Jerry Rice, and then another person I forgot.
And so they didn't partner you guys with any pros, like PGA guys?
No, not in that. That one's all celebrities.
That's all
100%
celebrities.
celebrities.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, got you. Yeah, wasn't Khaled at that one too?
Yeah, he did. He
With
did that. Jimmy Fallon.
with Jimmy Fallon, right?
Yeah.
They recorded that and
Yep,
everything, I think,
yep.
right? I never watched it, but I was at you weren't there. No, you weren't there. That's where I met Elena.
Elena,
Yeah. She at the Khaled charity event, like at the pre-party, which that was cool. Like Odell Beckham was there, a bunch of like 2 Chainz I think was there.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of guys. But golf is elite, bro. Everybody plays
The
that.
best. The
So
best.
good.
And it's the best place to go. 4 hours chilling.
Exactly.
No, you don't got to worry about anything but hitting the ball straight.
Hopefully, at least.
Exactly.
But that's awesome, man. So, what's next for you? What's next for AROD Corp? Anything exciting outside of whatever you guys are working on now?
Right now, our immediate future is just getting ready for the playoffs, baseball. Super excited about that. It's going to be a fun postseason. Hoping for Dodgers, Yankees to, the 2 MVPs play against each other. And, now it's the start of the basketball season. So gearing up for that. So
Yeah,
super
ideally
excited.
for baseball viewing purposes, LA Yankees World Series would be iconic.
Oh man, that'll be the best.
You're getting the 2 MVPs of
2
each
biggest
league.
markets,
Mhm.
2 biggest franchises, most iconic. After a tough World Series last year with the Rangers and the Diamondbacks, that was, didn't draw as well.
Yeah.
This one will, put the baseball back on the map and do massive numbers. Do
Is
NFL numbers.
that your World Series prediction? Yankees Dodgers?
That's my hopeful prediction.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. We'll see how the teams play out, but
Yeah.
that's what I'm hoping for. Fingers crossed.
As a baseball fan, I'm not a Yankee fan, but I am a baseball fan, and I think a Dodgers-Yankees series would just be iconic. Just watching Judge versus Ohtani for what I would assume would go 7 games would be pretty fucking
sure.
epic, bro.
Yeah, 2 best teams in baseball.
Yeah.
Number 2, 1 seeds. Be great to watch 2 giants collide.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But all right, bro. Well, I appreciate you coming on. It was a good time, and
Thanks for having me.
I'm sure we'll do this again at some capacity soon, and maybe the Wolves get a finals this year.
We'll do it after the finals run.
Yeah,
That'll be
I
fun.
like it. Appreciate
All right,
it, bro.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir.